drinks. Thank you for joining us. Okay, it's been a while. Cats in the background. At least they're not sleeping. They're a 24-hour nap. So yeah, they party all night sometimes. Sleep all day and party all night. Somebody's out there. I think Fritzy's laying down somewhere. You can hear. I don't know if you can hear her in the background or not. I tried to take down the background and they failed at that, at least for right now. All right, so this will be a UFO disclosure, Mars agenda, and the Arcturians healing the chaos. We'll see how that goes. This is, of course, a planet of chaos. The Mars energy, talked about this in the past, and it seems like it keeps coming up every now and then. Of course, it's come up with everybody, of course. I don't know if anyone's totally understanding it, or some people might be. It's just basically a chaos energy of just keep us here in the physical realms, to lock us in. Conspiracy theories that are kind of like religious in some ways. They say act the same. It's like one was conspiracy theory televangelism. So I gotta love that. If you can hear her, I can hear her in the background. I don't know if you can hear her back there. That's Priscilla going through. She's working on some kind of project back there. UFO disclosure, basically kind of an alien update. Not that anything's really going to happen anytime soon. Individually, it's up to you and your connections, your source. Your own meditations. Believe what you want to believe. Whatever you feel works for you. You don't have to believe anything. Many people are not believing anything anymore, and that's fine. Whatever works for you. I guess some kind of belief system will grow out of that somewhere. Maybe. You can zero yourself out, but there's got to be some kind of belief there somewhere. UFO disclosure, I feel like that'll be Palladian energies. So I try to keep this a little bit light overall. If somebody's running around over there. Can't see her. And Arcturians, see what they can pick up on the healing attributes of all of this. But Mars is, it's just a kind of like a wounded planet, you can say. Well, you hear about in the SSP talks. I mean, either way, you believe the agendas or not, there's still a negative force here. That's letting us figure things out. There's a fight going on that we're not seeing on our level. I mean, you see it to a certain level, but you know there's something else going on, like a fourth-dimensional war, you can say, an astral war, which are many wars going on. World War III feels like it's diverted for the moment. Doesn't mean it'll happen. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but right now, Putin does not want to do it yet. It's Christmas in the background. So they're busy back there. Somebody's, just a really big mouse back there. Okay, she finally showed out for now. I think she's refueling. She might hit the background before the night's over. UFO disclosure energy is not really clear what they're going to go into that. I just see the Palladian energies. I'll see where that goes. Mars is a weird one. I don't believe it's fully understood. I mean, I talk about it, but I'm not sure if that's a mainstream topic at all. It's just when you see the chaos energy here, there's an origins to our chaos. Like Mars is kind of watching over us and messing with our reality. There's several beings doing it. There's reptilian armies and so on. Mars is also connected to like the mutants. When I connect to their energy, I just feel like a mutated person. Not all of them are mutated, just there are mutant type people there, and they lived among each other. And our skies were, I mean, there's different ways of looking at it, but the skies do feel like they're kind of like a bit of a red tint. But it looked like our world, but kind of a reddish earth. You can say something around those lines, but obviously it doesn't really matter. Just like Earth's origins. I mean, I think it is healthy to connect to your own version of Earth, to like your own Earth, human origins. If you're not really tapping into the accurate set, not that it matters. It's just your version of it. It just doesn't really matter. Not really in the long run. So, all right, we'll see what we got here. Kind of keep things a little bit light overall. Hopefully, it's been kind of heavy recently. I've been talking coming up price sessions. We have a scheduler. We have a shop here. I forget what this is. I'm in October. I think I finally got into it. So some of these questions take like a month to answer. So same situation here. We have the upcoming event in December. And yeah, party all night. I don't think it's going to look like that, but you never know. Webinar tomorrow and behind the scenes. So, all right, we'll see what we got here, and maybe somebody else will show up. We'll see. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings. We are the Pleiadians. We're a collective energy. Yes, of course, there's much going on, of course, on your planet, but basically, for one to believe in oneself is difficult. Some do get lost very easily. They do remember their other versions of their incarnations, and they felt, well, it was more adventurous. A lot of times they're feeling more adventurous and more out of body, you can say. That's why the SSP is so fascinating for many. Some have been involved with it, some have not. Some feel like they have memories of it, when actually it's not their memories at all. It's more of a fantasy energy. They're going to create that reality at that moment. So it all depends on the individual. But basically, it's just, obviously many get bored with your reality. And so they go off into the unknown. And some of those places are created, but it's not always understood there. But then when you come back to this world, it's like, what am I doing here? What is this all about? And it's for the individual to decide what that is. And yes, you can go an entire life not knowing. You can actually go through many lifetimes not knowing. I mean, that shows also a reincarnation cycle. So, okay, you incarnated once as rich. That didn't make you happy. You're lost and become poor. It's like, that didn't make you happy either. So you basically find the right tune of what sings with your soul. Not that we're trying to, say you have to incarnate over and over again, but some souls decide to basically, it's like they're trying to figure out this riddle. And it's not always, of course you can do this on other realities, other worlds. You don't have to do it on this one. If you feel like you've had enough of this planet and you feel like it doesn't really offer you anything anymore, most likely that's what's happening right now. And so you kind of outgrew this planet. You outgrew this reality. But many have not. And so those are the ones you call matrix people. Those are part of the third dimensional frequencies. A lot of them just got here. They might have been here on many occasions in the past, but many of them just got here and still understand what this physical realm really is. So they're trying to, yes, forget about the astral realms, the spirit realms, and just trying to figure out what this place is. Like, what do I do with it? Okay, I'll go to religion, but I'm not really tapping into anything. I don't feel anything from that, but maybe I can find myself there. So many do become more absorbed into their work. Some become more absorbed into their relationships, whatever it might be. Some become more absorbed into being impoverished, and just trying to figure that out. All the aspects of that, the good, the bad, all different layers. Others become wealthy and become, all the attributes of that. and then you find like a middle ground eventually, whatever that might be. Some find that they've been through enough of traumas in this incarnation where they can start creating their art for themselves and maybe figure themselves out, possibly, possibly. And if that's not working, you just basically fine tune what's your place here. It's not the easiest. Yeah, it's kind of like you'd have a puzzle piece that doesn't fit in the puzzle. But it doesn't mean you have to reincarnate here over and over again. But sometimes going outside into the alien realms isn't always going to help you find who you are. Not as alien energy spirit beings, they can't always answer that. It's your journey. They can help you along, but basically you define it yourself because it really is best if it comes from you. Yes, you can be guided to a certain direction, yes. Many do become spiritually aware and become love with spirituality and become addicted to it, and then they get lost in it. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on where it goes, obviously, but that's once again up to the soul journey. So being lost on this planet is very easy, especially when you're used to being a higher dimensional being. It's easy to become lost because the other realities are easy. It's just easy to manifest quicker. You can think more clearly. You get to all these different realities and just everything fits together. And then you come to this world. It's like, oh, what do I do with this place now? So even as we're trying to bring out, we haven't been stopping and speaking about it. So it's basically connected to your inner timeline. Yes, finding a way not to be lost anymore. Because that's the idea. The beings that are here are causing all these difficulties. Want you to be locked in here forever. Well, that's their job. But you can bypass them. Some are Archon beings, reptilian beings, insectoid beings. They created this. So they want you to stay in it. They created this garden. And they want to keep you here forever. As long as they can. To them, they don't care. And so as you snap out of this reality and reconnect to your higher dimensional selves or astral energies, but basically it's kind of like you merge your astral self with your human self. You see things multidimensional, but you're a human being. And that's where your power starts to activate when the time is right. That's the patience part of it. It's like when you become more multidimensional. Meaning like you can become more telepathic, more powerful. It's not always necessary here. Not really. Just gives your everyday life. Well, because when you go to more of your powers, like your telepathic abilities, as a human, you can be burned out. Meaning because you're physical. So you can burn yourself out. You can overdo it. And some of you probably noticed that. You're on spiritual. It's like you're doing 20, 30 things at once. And even that's quite overwhelming. So as a physical being, you're, mastering all of this, mastering physicality, always knowing its limitations. Obviously, you're a being of no limitation, but the body does have its own physical limitations. Well, you already, I believe many of you have already discovered that. So. But for alien disclosure energies, basically, it's kind of like slowing down. Many of them are hyperactive. They want their aliens, but they want everything else at the same time, wealth, whatever it might be. But basically, slow things down. That's why meditation can play a part. Some can't slow themselves down for meditation to occur. But basically, it's just slowing down so you can see who's around you and connect to the Akashic that is yours, because you can't bypass a lot of realities. You can bypass your own spirit guide guidance, and some of you noticed that probably. Well, obviously, if you're on moving 100 miles an hour, you can't always tap into everything. Well, you can't bypass what your guides are trying to tell you. Now, yes, you can upgrade beyond your guides, but sometimes you need to check into them every once in a while. Yeah, that one's on an individual basis. That can get kind of confusing there. Greetings. We are as the Martian consciousness. There are, yes, beings here. They call themselves bosses or lieutenants, leaders. Some are part of your military. Realize a Martian. They give you obviously Mars is not completely explaining itself to you. For first off, why should it? does it does it want to? Does it need to? Let's give you a little bit of a detail of how Mars looks at your world. They look at your military and see it as a joke, basically. Worldwide. They see it as just peons. Just they don't know anything. They have to have the nuclear weapons. They think they're all tough. When in truth, they don't know anything about anything. Yes, they have alien technologies. They're acting like fools with it. They don't know what they're doing with it. They really are kind of like ass backwards everything. A true Martian would just go about it and do kind of like take over, kind of like a dictator, kind of like Julius Caesar, but more powerful. And just do everything. I mean, a true Martian. Not all Martians would do that. A lot of Martians are like, can we all just live together like little hippies? And that's all right. And many Martians are actually very stylish. They have kind of like a rosary rose energy about them, in style. But some do, most do actually. But Martians really look at your world as just weak. Well, it basically because the humans, it can get militaristic, but not in the way you might think. Meaning that they don't, hide anything. They just, we just whatever needs to be said would be said. Not necessarily to insult each other, but just because your world's all about secrets. In our world, there was no secrets. There were secret societies, yes, but it was very small. Here, it seems like you're secretive with yourselves and keeping things locked down. Yes, you can't exactly talk to each other at the way that some of you would like to. Be more open, whatever it might be. It's like your world is so closed down. At least the belief systems are. What isn't a Martian manipulation? There's actually an Archon manipulation there to keep you kind of like the ant people. It's like we have certain ways of how we want you to think, and kind of like designing how the mind works, as you see here. But you're here to break free of that, obviously. Obviously, most of your society has no idea what the hell they're talking about. Well, most of your society, is more physical human. Yeah, still they've had incarnations here, but they haven't really reconnected to their alien self, as you can see. Well, if that was the case, your world would become more spiritual on a galactic level. Now, it doesn't mean it won't be messed up here. It's that we'll still have alien religions and people will still probably be screwed up here, but at least on a galactic level. And you will also see aliens here flying around because you're just not, you're just not bullshitting each other anymore. So for us, your government is paranoid, weak, arrogant. Your generals that are hiding everything. A lot of them, like when they do events like false flags, it does injure them health wise. And some of them don't live very long because they know what they're doing is really bad. And your elites know that too. So that's why some of your elitists are weak in health because they're doing horrible things here and they know it. So just even if they're trying to be humanitarian, some are just evil and it goes to their body. It causes like a friction there. You see that with some of your celebrities, especially those that have sold out. Yeah, especially Kanye West, the mind is going. And that's not just the programming, it's also just the morality of the situation. They know they sold themselves out. Kitty cat in the background somewhere. So, for channeling and connections, I mean, obviously there will be alien beings appearing here one day. but not yet. Well, because yeah, it's not just the people here. The people here will probably adapt. It's just the controllers here don't want it. Those that are kind of the gatekeepers of your planet. Society will actually adapt to more alien connections. What we see, it won't be easy. There'll be some. I mean, of course, your world has so much propaganda. Your news media will just get people to riot and things like that. Obviously, they'll say no, but you have propaganda constantly, which is almost like an insult to the human intelligence here. Like, are people that stupid? Some are, some, but that's part of their lessons. So that's the school they need to go through. Obviously, many of you like to remove that, the manipulations within your media, but others need it for their growth. It's like taking the teacher and throwing it out the window. I mean, you might not need that teacher, but others do. They need that chaos energy because they're not fully understanding their reality yet. Not to say all of you are understanding your reality either, but you know you're multidimensional, you know, aliens, spirit guides, whoever, even if you still don't get along with each other. So you're bringing that environment here, advancing it little by little. Realize this is a huge deal, going multidimensional in a physical world. Now, obviously, if you're in a non-physical world, it's very easy. But even there, non-physical worlds can be like how belief systems are kind of convoluted. This is brainwashes your planet. Let's put it that way. Just on a multi-dimensional, oh, you can't connect to those beings, connect to these instead, and don't trust those guys, trust these guys. Either way, I imagine you can get some ideas on that. Well, interesting that some of you in the higher dimensions, you know, you're just sitting there with nothing else to do, and your mind wanders, and then you create a reptilian race or an insectoid race. It's like, we need something to challenge ourselves, or we maybe just challenge other beings. So you create a reptilian race, just with your thoughts, just your collective consciousness. And then you watch and see what those reptilians do to other beings. It's like, okay, so that's what happens when you do something like that. And then eventually it comes back to you, where you have to deal with yourself. And instead of like, you know, in fear and losing your mind, it's like, how can we improve this? How can we make these beings stronger? How can you be yourself intimidated by them? Because sometimes when you create these beings, you're not intimidated by them. So they make them more intimidating than you have a dinosaur and you have with other beings. So it was giving an idea of your creative process in the higher dimensions. You wonder what higher dimensional beings are doing all day. They're creating good things and also things that don't make any sense. So those that do psychedelics, yes, they're trying to get back into the astral realm. They even answer their human element. What the hell was I doing coming here? To solve that riddle. It's not always there to be solved, as you know. All right, I think we've said enough here. Greetings to you, we are the Arcturians. Blessings, our moments. For healing the chaos of your reality, some need to go through it basically of some want to be more advanced than they really are. Some are still not able to see themselves more clearly. So basically just continue to go wherever you need to go. Some go to the secret space program energy to kind of find themselves, even heal some traumas that are going on there. Eventually have to come back to Earth and discover yourself here. Like, were you like parents of your parents? Like, did you create the generation of your family? Maybe not recently, maybe a couple of thousand years ago. Now you're reconnecting to it, or you created thousands of families with Anunnaki. And so you're now here to go through all your different bloodlines to heal it to a certain. It's like sometimes you have to lay in the bed that you created, take on a difficult lifetime where others cannot handle it. So, and sometimes, yeah, you're part of those. Most likely, the family that you're in that bloodline for a reason, not just there for no. There's always a reason somewhere. Well, there's something. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to incarnate within your family if there wasn't something there that was attracting you to that energy, that bloodline. That's something there to magnetize you to it. That's why some births don't happen because they feel like there's just no connection to the family. Even if you can't get along with these people, you feel like there's a connection. But some don't have that connection. It kind of burns out. It's like they thought they can make it work, but then it doesn't work. And then you have a miscarriage and things like that. That's another way of looking at it. It's all about electricity. It's all about chemistry within your family line. Like I say, it doesn't mean you have to get along with everybody, but you know you need to be there. But some kind of vibe has to be right. So basically, you're dissecting your reality more clearly. Somewhat, you're not here to see everything just yet. You're getting there. Basically, yes, you kind of turn a page where alien beings are now part of your society. Obviously, you're talking about it and making it easier, but there's still, even those that are in an awakened state still have difficulties handling an alien presence. Basically, a lot of aliens feel like it's not time yet even for them to show. They can show up and they have to do it. You're stressed, everyone else is stressed, and all of a sudden they become like a counselor, answer everybody's questions. And then some people start to worship them. Some people might think it's Jesus or Buddha or whoever it might be. And now they got to deal with that. So some beings, yes, do like to be worshipped. They might say, "Oh, I'm not into being worshipped," until they get here, and then some alien beings get addicted to it. So there are now a lot of your celebrities. A lot of that's an Archon invention, but of course, that's been invented in so many different places. The felines have had their own version of it. Basically, it's a version of the royalty race. There's all these different royalty races, of course, you have with your businesses, your corporations. There's different type of royalty energies there. You kind of choose what you're connected to. Not to say everybody has to be a royalty, but the higher ups, there is a version of it. And some of them get tired of being there, so they quit. Your royal families, your royals in England, obviously they all hate each other. I think the queen just loathed so many of them. She couldn't take it anymore. But the royal family in England has seen worse. It's bad now. This is nothing compared. I mean, that's one thing about all the celebrity and all these cameras and everything. There's spotlights on all these people, so they can't be as deceiving as they once were. There is some deception, of course, but nothing like what, yeah. Next thing you know, like the king has like 30 babies everywhere. Father of like 30 or 100 kids. And that's just part of it. So, yes, even William himself is kind of keeping himself toned, keeping himself, but he'd be more than happy to father other kids. Don't think he hasn't thought about that. I mean, that's the royal way, isn't it? What else purposes they have besides inbreeding or breeding, whatever you want to call it. So something like continuing the royal family race. Obviously, they keep that. Obviously, there's people here who's like blasphemy to even think that way, but obviously, they live in a whole other world. But for healing these energies here, the chaotic frequencies, yes, there's no real one message that can solve that. Basically, figure out your own riddle, feel out your place here. Even if what drive, is there any type of drive, any type of something you want to figure out about yourself? Or yes, there's sometimes a mundane everyday life situation is all you need to do. Obviously, your mind can dream off to different places, different things you can do, but what needs to be done here, I mean, sometimes you get ideas to do certain, accomplishments, and then you cancel it out and want to do something else. That happens a lot, actually. So self-discovery is up to you, of course. As for alien energies showing up here, appearing to you, obviously they work with everybody here, but even the alien beings have to step back because this world becomes too much, even as they're acting assistants to your world. Because there are always alien beings assisting, always. But they can't always have the answers for you. You have to just see what you do. Because this world, some of you can actually become more advanced than the aliens themselves. Yes, you might be in a physical reality, but the aliens have kind of lost. They have no idea what to do with it. I mean, they just let you do your thing, whatever you want to create. They just watch. They might, tell you certain things. Oh, you forgot your wallet here, or did this and did that, but that's about it. Yeah, sometimes you exceed their expectations. And there's sometimes even the spirit world itself is kind of clueless. So the alien energies, all we can do, we can help you with health to a certain level. We can't solve everything. Um, there's some things we can't get involved with, but certain health situations is part of your timeline. It's part of what you are, what you're going into. As some of you know that already. All right, let's go. Blessings.